That moment when you beat Sans and you screamed so loud you gave your roommate a heart attack.
Sorry, Adam.
Spoiler warning. Undertale is meant to be played completely blind. If you somehow missed Undertale for the past 3 years and you haven't played it or seen a playthrough of it, please do so first. Otherwise this video will not make any sense. What's up guys, I'm a son of Benedict. Undertale is completely insane. I can't count the number of times this game screwed with my mind and made me question simple video game mechanics. Sans is notorious for breaking the fourth wall and acknowledging that he's actually aware of the mechanics of the game. This leads to some interesting theories about him and who he is. In this video, I'm going to explore how Sans uses his knowledge in an attempt to answer one of the biggest questions in Undertale outside of Gaster. Why does Sans fight you in the Genocide Run, and only in the Genocide Run? What I found was that Sans' reason for fighting you in the Genocide Run is a similar concept to the Catholic practice of excommunication. I would just like to point out that nothing in this video is undermined by the event of Deltarune. I made sure to double check. Also, I know that sparing every monster and getting the good ending is typically called a pacifist run, but since you can still attack all the monsters and get the good ending as long as you spare them, I am going to call it a mercy run. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Undertale has 3 main endings: Mercy, Neutral, and Genocide. The game starts by sending the main protagonist, Frisk, into the underground where monsters reside. The neutral ending basically consists of Frisk making his way out of the underground. Boring is as boring goes, but that's the point of the neutral ending, to make you want more. The Mercy ending consists of sparing all the monsters, or simply not killing anything, and completing all the side missions. The Mercy route ends with saving King Asgore's son, Azrael, and all the monsters live happily ever after on the surface, coexisting with humans. Yay, happy ending! The Genocide route is the one we care about, though. The Genocide route is pretty self-explanatory. Kill everything. It is at the end of the Genocide run that Sans fights you. Let's explore who Sans is before going further. Sans is lazy. He's constantly being berated by his brother Papyrus for being so lazy. On top of it all, he sleeps at work, which is at a hot dog stand that sells water sausages, which I'm pretty sure are plants. Yeah, I'm not gonna question Sans' logic too much. I might explode. But Sans also happens to be a genius and the most powerful monster in the underground. Well, that escalated quickly. It is during the fight that Sans reveals the most about himself and what he really knows. After each and every playthrough of the game except the True Mercy run, you meet Sans in a church. He proceeds to judge your actions based on how many people you've killed. In the Genocide run, he skips that and starts attacking you. He reveals a lot in his boss fight, especially his immense power over time and space. He also reveals that he knows you can reset or respawn. He says things like, "That's the expression of someone who's died twice in a row. How about we make it a third?" In Undertale, every respawn is canon to the story. Each and every death counts. Also, starting a new game in Undertale doesn't actually start a new game. A new game is a continuation, but all the characters have their memories wiped, but not perfectly. The characters will often make references on how they think some of the events in the game have happened before, but they won't know why. Sans knows not so much that he's in a video game, but he's aware of the mechanics. He reveals that you have created multiple timelines over various playthroughs. This realization leads into part of his character. Because Sans is aware of this time travel reset mechanic, and because he cannot control time the way Frisk can, he essentially gives up in most cases. This is why he's lazy. If everything is just going to be reset by Frisk, what's the point of doing anything? This is in line with a philosophy known as nihilism, which says that in the grand scheme of things, nothing you do ultimately matters. Sans, according to many theories, is also depressed, as is evident from his constant sleeping and laziness, which can be symptoms of depression. And to be honest, I don't blame him. I'd be depressed too if I learned that everything I do doesn't matter. But this doesn't explain why he fights you in the genocide run. If nothing matters, and even genocide is irrelevant because Frisk can just reset it. But Sans knows there's something else. He says in his boss fight that all I know is seeing what comes next, I can't afford not to care anymore. Sans knows that at the end of the genocide run, Frisk can't just reset the game and have everything go back to normal. Sans knows about Kara. Kara is the only other human you meet in the underground anywhere in the game. She only meets you at the end of a genocide run to show you that you have achieved the worst possible ending. Theories about her being inherently good or evil aside, she does possess Frisk. After completing a genocide run and then going back and completing a mercy run, you discover that Kara still possesses Frisk even though you started a new game. She presumably goes on to kill the main cast as is demonstrated by this picture. After completing a genocide run, you can never get the good ending again. Unless, of course, you cheat and uninstall the game and reinstall it, but that's just being cheap and a heathen, and don't do that. Sans knows that being possessed by Kara is permanent in all of the timelines. He's studied the timelines, or is at least aware of them. He knows this one matters. In effect, Sans renounces nihilism in the genocide run because he knows what he does matters on this one. It's more permanent. But Sans isn't trying to kill you. He can't, because Frisk can respawn. It's a fight he can't win. However, Sans tries to prevent you from completing the genocide run through demoralization, making you give up. He decides that he's going to be unfair in his boss fight to stop you. He breaks the game, teleports, changes the rules, makes you play mini platforming games. I can't tell you how many times I died to that stupid attack. Grr. He's the only character that drains your health. He attacks you in the menus. This is all mechanics that have never appeared in the game before or have not been core game mechanics. He's breaking the game and he's making his boss fight completely unfair to make you give up. He's not trying to kill you. He's trying to make you quit. But you keep going because you're determined. Sans also doesn't hate you. This is kind of complicated, but he does spare you in the middle of the fight. Granted, you get dunked on, but he still says this: I know you didn't answer me before, but somewhere in there, I can feel it. There's a glimmer of a good person inside of you. The memory of someone who once wanted to do the right thing. Someone who, in another time, might have even been a friend? Come on, buddy, do you remember me? Please, if you're listening, let's forget all of this, okay? Just lay down your weapon and, well, my job will be a lot easier. He knows you are capable and have most likely done a mercy run in the past. He doesn't hate you. He knows you can be a good person and offers you a chance of redemption. But this chance can be easily misunderstood because he does kill you if you spare him. Him killing you is actually intended to be a shortcut of sorts. you go to the game over screen where you can go to the main menu and reset the game before completing the genocide run. Since you can't actually quit out of the Sans fight in the middle of it, save for turning off the game, he is directing you toward the main menu so you can reset. Sans wants you to complete a mercy run and leave the universe there, never play Undertale again. On the game over screen, Sans says, "Get dunked on!" If we were really friends, you won't come back. That is, you won't come back to the fight, or the genocide run at all. If you're actually Sans' friend, you won't come back to fight him. But we as players often fail to understand this, embrace the salt, and continue fighting Sans. What Sans is doing here is actually quite similar to Catholic excommunication. Excommunications in the Catholic Church are reserved for grave matters, of which genocide is certainly one, and prevent the person who is excommunicated from participating in the sacraments. According to the Catechism, certain particularly grave sins incur excommunication, the most severe ecclesiastical penalty, which impedes the reception of the sacraments and the exercise of certain ecclesiastical acts, and for which absolution consequently cannot be granted according to canon law, except by the Pope, the bishop of the place, or priest authorized by them. So, if you're excommunicated, you can't receive the sacraments unless you are absolved by the Pope or bishop. However, if one does receive the sacraments while excommunicated, that person commits the sin of sacrilege. Sacrilege is defined on Catholic Answers as basically something that profanes a sacred object. Also, dying while in the state of a mortal sin, which sacrilege is, would merit hell for eternity. This isn't a pleasant thought. In this light, the point of excommunication is actually to prevent people from committing sacrilege. Excommunications are meant to prevent people from sinning more and being inconsistent with their actions. If you choose to reject the church and receive excommunication, don't receive its sacraments. That wouldn't make any sense. In relation to Sans, Sans is trying to prevent you from completing a genocide run because he doesn't want you to be possessed by Kara, in other words, the devil. In effect, Sans excommunicates you so you don't commit the sacrilege of meeting Kara. And since being possessed by Kara is permanent in the Undertale universe, it can be equated to hell, which is also permanent. Sans doesn't want you to continue on a genocide run, and the church doesn't want you to sin further. Excommunications and Sans dunking you are often misunderstood and just piss people off further. But they are doing it out of respect for the person, not out of spite or hatred. Both Sans and the church offer a way back. Sans wants you to reset and do a mercy run. The church wants you to reset your soul by going to confession. So go to confession, and don't fight Sans, unless you really, really want to have a bad time. Saint Benedict and Saint Scholastica, pray for us. Before officially signing off, I would like to thank P. Tony for having me on his game show called Game of Favorites. If you don't know what that is, it's an apples to apples type game show where the audience gets to vote on contestant responses to a prompt. The prompts are often ridiculous, Catholic, or both. Links will be in the description. And again, thank you, P. Tony, for having me be a part of this.